You and Jenny Jen still kicking it? That's part one.
As far as Jenny Jen, absolutely, we are together. I just appreciate her.
If he want to marry me, he can give me an apartment building.
Okay, that would be, you don't want a ring, you want an apartment complex.
I'd give you a duplex.
Did he really step out? Or did the internet just write its own fan fiction? That's the question that snatched everyone's attention the second a few clipped moments started flying around the timeline. One frame looks like a side-eye, freeze it and it reads like shade. Another frame catches a tight smile, loop it, and it turns into a caught in 4K montage. Add a dramatic caption, speed it up to 1.25x, and suddenly a perfectly ordinary public appearance becomes the opening scene of a scandal. We've seen this movie before. A 3-second clip becomes a 30-minute theory, a meme becomes a headline, and overnight the comment section graduates from amateur detectives to full-time relationship analysts. The wild part? None of those fragments answer the only question that matters: what's actually happening between two people when the cameras go dark? That's the difference between noise and news. Noise chases attention, news needs receipts. The timeline ran with noise because it moves faster, hits harder, and feels juicier in the moment. But real life has a slower rhythm. People talk, they laugh, they disagree about appetizers, they check texts from work, and then they go home together like normal couples do. Clip that, and it doesn't go viral. Clip a raised eyebrow, and the internet writes its own ending. But that wasn't the whole story, and the receipts point a very different direction. Follow the breadcrumbs and you won't land on a police report, a confirmed statement, or a credible scoop. You'll land on optics. Courtside cutaways. A mic catching half a sentence under arena noise. A camera panning at the exact moment someone was mid-blink. Put those frames on a loop, let the captions imply betrayal, and the rumor machine hums like it's on autopilot. Meanwhile, outside the algorithm, the two of them kept appearing together. Dinners, industry events, casual city runs, moving the way grown folks move when they don't owe strangers an explanation. Blogs turned micro expressions into macro theories, but interviews and legit coverage kept sounding steady. They speak warmly about each other, they show up for each other, and they look tuned in, not checked out. That mismatch, the online drama versus the offline calm, is what fuels confusion. We've entered an era where a meme can outrun a fact, where a snarky caption beats a careful quote, and where a friend of a friend gets treated like a source. And yet, whenever you actually stack the moments, the pattern isn't scandal. The pattern is two busy, very public professionals trying to keep a personal life private without turning it into a spectacle. So, if the clip hunters got the vibe wrong, how did this relationship actually take shape? Time to rewind the tape.
Once Tiffany and I got back on the move, it really didn't allow for us to spend as much time and put as much energy into our relationship. I don't think the love really dispersed.
Roll back to the early sparks. In 2022, they shared space on a project that demanded long days and tighter circles. From there, sightings multiplied, city to city, set to studio, casual to a little less casual, no declarations, no grandstanding. Just a slow, steady drift from industry peers to something more. Then came the moment everybody remembers, the daytime TV clarity in early 2024. He didn't hide behind PR fog or sidestep the obvious. He spoke like a man who'd made a choice and was happy with it. After that, the snapshots started telling a different story. Not scandal, but synergy. A shared joke on the way into a venue. A private smile when they thought the lens wasn't looking. The kind of microchemistry that doesn't need captions to read like connection. Through late 2024 and into 2025, the quotes stayed consistent. He called her special without doing the most. She talked about feeling supported without doing a press tour about it. When fans pushed for "When's the ring?", they didn't overpromise, but they also didn't underplay what was clearly real. It felt like two people building quietly, not performing loudly, but the internet loves a plot twist, and it found one in the most predictable place, the X. Enter Tiffany Haddish, comedian, straight shooter, and the person timelines love to cast as the tell-it-like-it-is narrator. In 2023, she tossed off a quick, edgy quip about earrings on social. It sounded half joke, half jab, the kind of thing comics riff on in real time. Blogs pounced, headlines shouted shade, and suddenly the narrative had a supporting character with punchlines. Fast forward, and the same Tiffany shows up in interviews saying the grown-up thing. She wishes them well, hopes they're happy, and is busy living her own life. So which version is the truth? Probably both. Comics are built to turn awkward into funny, pain into bits, and timing into applause. That doesn't mean they're plotting revenge, it means they make moments out of feelings and move on. The internet doesn't move on. It loves to freeze a joke and pretend it's a manifesto. That's how a one-liner becomes a long-standing feud, how a shrug becomes clowning, and how an audience reads comedy like a confession. The reality is less dramatic and more human. Relationships end, people process. Some of that processing looks like a laugh on a live stream, and life continues. Still, the crowd didn't invent their expectations from thin air. They brought them from his history. Here's the thing about dating in public for years. You collect headlines the way musicians collect tour tees. Some are iconic, some you forget in the back of the closet. When fans look at his track record, they see a pattern. Brilliant women, high chemistry, a run that feels promising, and then a quiet exit. That commitment-phobic label sticks fast because it's easy and convenient. But it ignores the other side of the timeline. The part where somebody goes to therapy, talks about emotional habits, and tries to be intentional in a world that rewards performance over patience. Sometimes a relationship ends not because someone fumbled, but because the fit wasn't forever. And sometimes a person learns to choose better, show up better, and build better. Just not on the internet's schedule. Project that onto today, and you get two camps. One swearing he'll drift again, the other convinced he's finally parked. Both camps are guessing. The only people with the full script are the two who share calendars and carve out time when everybody wants a piece of them. That's the annoying truth about grown relationships in the spotlight. The audience wants certainty. The people involved get process. And if the public is extra protective of her, there's a reason, one that deserves care. Before The Daily Show, before the trophies, before the world learned her voice could bend steel, Jennifer Hudson carried losses most of us struggle to speak aloud. A family tragedy in 2008 changed the map of her life. She rebuilt, slowly, privately, stubbornly, turning grief into motion and motion into purpose. Years later, as a partner and a mom, she faced a different kind of turbulence in 2017. An emergency order was filed and later dropped. Police didn't bring charges. By 2019, the custody piece had been sorted and sealed away from public consumption. The headline hunters will always chase the storm. She kept choosing the work. Album cycles, film sets, a talk show with warmth in every corner. Evidence not of a perfect life, but of resilience. That's why fans get loud when a rumor targets her piece. They remember the chapters she didn't turn into spectacle. They remember the discipline it takes to stay kind in an unkind industry. So when a shaky montage suggests a betrayal, the protective instinct kicks in. Not because the internet knows the truth, but because it knows her track record of dignity. She's earned grace. She's earned the benefit of the doubt. And that shapes how the public reads any storyline with her name attached. Which brings us to the only question that matters right now. What's confirmed? Confirmed, they still speak about each other with warmth. Confirmed, they continue to appear together, smiling in the kind of easy, inside joke way that can't be faked for long. Confirmed, every credible check-in this year is read more like content and connected than cautious and crumbling. Convenient for clicks. A freeze frame of a tense face becomes caught red-handed. Convenient for clicks. A third-hand claim dressed up as a source close to the situation. Convenient for clicks. Lifting a single sentence from a long interview and stapling on a headline it doesn't support. And because the internet rewards speed over accuracy, the convenient story often outruns the confirmed one. But here's the quiet truth. If there were real receipts, someone would have posted them by now. That's how these news cycles work. Screenshots, timestamps, messy threads. That's the playbook. Instead, we've got recycled clips and captions doing heavy lifting. Until something solid shows up, the fairest read is the simplest. Two adults are together, aware of the noise, and uninterested in turning their relationship into a group project. So where is this heading? Rings, reset, or just regular life at celebrity scale? The internet wants a grand finale, but real relationships are more like a series with quiet renewals. The decision points aren't viral, they're private. Do our schedules line up this quarter? Can we protect a weekend that isn't on someone's tour calendar? Are we building a home rhythm that feels sustainable when the cameras are off and the lights are done? Those are the questions that decide everything, not a thumbnail, not a cheeky caption, not a courtside reaction gif. Will there be a proposal? If it happens, it'll be because it fits the life they're actually living, not the storyline people keep requesting in the comments. Could there be a plot twist? Absolutely. Love is a high wire act, and nobody watching from the sidewalk can feel the wind up there. But today, the loudest evidence points away from scandal and towards something steadier. Two grown people choosing each other while the world keeps asking for proof. Maybe the real twist is that there's no twist, just the unglamorous, beautiful work of showing up. So keep your eye on what matters, not what trends. If the chapter changes, it won't arrive as a rumor, it'll arrive as a choice they announce when it's time. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss any of the celebrity gossip. Until then, the smartest bet is simple. Believe the people living the story, not the captions writing it for them. Thanks for watching.